Righto, there you can see the saddle. Thanks for walking in, Cody, and amazingly he did that by himself. So we're just going to back him up a little bit. You can see the saddle he had on there, so we'll back him up a bit. So where we're at, the video we're going to make today is about roping. It's all about roping. So, team roping is a sport, huge sport in Australia and a monumental sport in America. And what team roping is two blokes on horses, and they're either side of a chute, and the chute has doors that bang open. When those doors bang open, a bull races out, and the person on the left of the bull, the rider on the left of the bull, he's the header. He swings his rope, he gets it round the head of the cow, and the person on the right of the cow is the heeler, and that person swings his rope and gets the two back legs of the bull. And what happens is when they've both got the bull, they dally and the timer stops, and that's how the fastest person obviously wins. Sport for men and women called team roping. That's what it's called, team roping. So how did it originate? Well, it originated in an era when wild, mad cows had to be caught and branded, and there were no corrals. This was out on the range, out on the open range, and there were no corrals. These days you can go out with trucks and four-wheel drives with portable yards. You use your horses to round up the cattle. You can push them into the portable yards, filter them through, brand them, sort them out, dead easy. But back in the day, you only had horses, you're on horseback, and you had no portable yards. A lot of places you didn't have enough timber, the effort that was required to build yards, and you didn't want to have to move cows many kilometres to wherever the yards were. You wanted to brand them on the spot, and it'd be easy to move around branding if you only had to start a fire, chuck your irons in, and then bring the cows up. So that's how team roping started, is if you head a cow and you're on a horse and you've got that cow by the head, how can you brand it? Because it's still got the full 360 circle to go in, kicking and carrying on. So what you got to do is you got to head it and you got to heel it, and then when you've heeled it, you can stretch it and pull it apart, front legs, back legs, brand it, let it go. So that's how heading and heeling and roping first started, and of course now it's become a hugely popular sport, a sport that people participate in having never owned a ranch. So how does it work? Maybe we'll leave that for another video. Going to be a bit hard to show you how it works, but it's called throwing a loop. That's what you do, you throw a loop. But if you've seen my videos and you've been watching them for a while now, you'll notice that Cody only ever wears a military saddle. It's a late 1800s style saddle, a military saddle. It's meant to be super light. You want it as light as possible because you want the horse to be able to travel as far as possible, work with as little load on its back. That's the logistical load, if you like. You want to be able to carry ammo and water and food and provisions and your weapon and your sabre, but you really need your saddle to be as light as possible. That's why I've just now become, I never ride in anything else but the military saddle, and I can pick my military saddle up. I should have had it here to show you. I can pick my military saddle up with one finger. Now, if I'm telling you about roping and how you head and you heel a cow, you cannot keep a hold of that rope once you have caught that cow. They are too strong, 500, 600, 700, 800 kilo beasts. So what you have to do is you have to do a dally. And what a dally is that once you've thrown your rope, I should have been more prepared. I'm never prepared enough. I came out here to do a Jimmy Stewart video. How did I get sidetracked? So once you've thrown your loop, you've got to put this around your saddle horn, and then that locks on the saddle horn, and that's a dally. Make sure as hell you do not get a finger caught in your dally. And then that locks on the horse, and the horse props there, and that cow ain't going nowhere. So, having made a bit of a mess here, through lack of preparation. See, the thing is, I do all these videos by myself. Can you imagine Hollywood would have a director, producers, makeup artists, costume artists, script writer, backup people. We are just here, just the two of us, and Wild Bill over there watching what's going on. So, I'm completely lost where I was. The dally on the saddle horn. So what we're going to try and do is just bring in Cody. We'll see if we can get him to stand in a good spot to see the western saddle. Now that western saddle, this part up here with the saddle horn on it, this has to be so strong and it is so heavy. What do you think, mate? I'm not sure if we can. We really should. See, we never practice anything. Come on. Come on. We never have a rehearsal. We never practice anything. So what I'm going to do is, if you can stay here, mate, if you can stay here and see, it's really heavy. And what it has is this massive cinch at the front. And then, you see these rings here, this is for yet another cinch that goes around his back of his gut. And some horses are so sensitive, you just can't ride them because they will buck and buck and buck. They can't stand that back cinch being done up. But it's more than those cinches and the heavy saddle. What you also have is you have from this buckle here, it comes around their chest, leather straps, then that goes down between their front legs, and all of that is connected to the saddle. So you have the saddle, leather straps connected to the front cinch, a back cinch, the front and back cinch joined together to have this massive piece of heavy equipment on the horse's back. And that's so that when you actually rope a steer, be it heading or heeling, that horse can just stand there and take the weight. Just a brief aside, I was learning how to team rope and I really didn't know what I was doing, and it was suggested that perhaps one way I could learn how to team rope and get used to the dally was that we would put the rope around a steer's head while it was still in the chute, and Cody would be beside the chute. The chute would bang open, the bull would race out, and we'd ride out just to get a feel of that rope around the bull's head. Now, because I was a shit rider and didn't know what I was doing, Cody just took off out of the gate. The bull's dallied, the bull pulls back, huge bull, huge bull. Gets pulled over on its side. The guy that's teaching me saying, stop, stop. And Cody's riding along and a massive bull is lying on its side, being dragged along by Cody. That's how tough these saddles are, how strong the connection is with all those leather straps around the horse. And I hasten to add here that when you're team roping, the bulls have cloth padding all around their head. That's where the rope goes around, so that if you've ever seen a cow's skull, it is a massive piece of heavy bone. The rope goes around heavy bone that's padded anyway. So Cody wasn't doing anything harsh, he wasn't strangling the bull, and who knows whether that creature feels pain. They have a whole different threshold of pain, but I'd like to think that the animal activists won't burn a wooden cross in my front garden for me saying that old Cody dragged this massive big bull along on its side while I tried to stop him to get the rope undone. Righto, a bit of team roping there and western saddles. This boy hasn't had a western saddle on him for a couple of years at least, and I've got no intention of riding him in it because I just love the light horse. The light horse saddle. Righto, perhaps now we'll get on with Jimmy Stewart. Cheers.